السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، مساء الخير جميعا. أهلا بكم في برنامج نيوكاسل مع وليد. طبعا نستضيف صديقنا جيمي ماكاي من نيوكاسل، طبعا والمقرب من مسؤولي نادي مانشستر يونايتد. طبعا صديقنا جيمي حضر معنا كثير من البثوث والحلقات في السنوات الماضية. أتوقع يمكن هذا الظهور الخامس. صرنا فترة طبعا ما طلعنا يعني في بث، لكن الأخبار الآن المتعلقة بالهلال ومانشستر ونيوكاسل كثيرة. فعندنا بعض نشوف احنا طبعا وسائل التواصل والأخبار والحسابات مليئة بالأخبار وعكس بعض، لكن احنا نجيب الأخبار يعني من مصدرها، وطبعا من مصادر موثوقة. جيمي ماكاي وأثبت ذلك في العديد من الأخبار اللي انفردت فيها طبعا نيوكاسل مع وليد. لازل لاسس ويلكم جيمي تو نيوكاسل وذ الوليد بودكاست. ويلكم جيمي.
Hello, mate. How are you? I haven't seen you for a long time.
Yes, yes, and
Thanks.
happy to see you. It's an honor, as usual. We are struggling with the news, especially with Al-Hilal, with the Bruno Fernandez, and on the other side, Newcastle side, Mbuemo. You want to steal, Manchester want to steal Mbuemo from us. 1 year left. I like to talk about really Jimmy, but I will try to be straight forward answer, because I'm gonna try to translate some part of the show, maybe also during live, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, of course, mate. I know that you've got a crowd there that are Saudi based, so you're more than welcome to do your translation. You've done that before on my show. You don't need to ask my approval for that. That's not a problem at all, buddy. Obviously, let people know what I'm saying. I'll try and interpret it as much, but what I will say as well might be worth translating as well is my opinions are not based on any sources in particular. I'm kind of going off of the same information as everybody else can see. So I appreciate you bringing me on. It's always lovely personally to see you and talk to you about football. But yeah, my knowledge base is just completely what I think and my opinion on it. So it might be worth translating that to the people, because I don't want people thinking I've got some information. I'm just a normal fan like everybody else. So
طبعا احنا كنا في او ما زلنا في جاكو، لكن احيانا لما يكون عندنا ضيف من خارج السعوديه مثلا صعب انه يجي جاكو يعني، وتحميل البرنامج بعض الجولات ما قصه طويله يعني. فاحنا البثوث يعني اللي تكون من ضيوف خارج المملكه نجي طبعا كما كنا يعني سابقا على اليوتيوب. جهزوا اسئلتكم، اللي عنده اسئله يسالها في الشات. نبدا طبعا بالسؤال الاول. Question number one, we went to latest on Bruno Fernandez to Al-Hilal. We saw pictures, or we saw a party with Cancelo, and we didn't know really Cancelo, which he is player in Al-Hilal, with Bruno. Also, you tell us that there is his family not sure of coming to Saudi Arabia. Of course, they have an opportunity to ask Ruben Neves and Cancelo about that. And we want to know about more about the wait or the time. They always say Bruno, he have like 24 hours to answer, 48 hours to answer. Every day an hour increase. So latest please on Bruno Fernandez and Al-Hilal.
Yeah, just I think it's always good to point out as well, from people listening based in Saudi, maybe some people in England as well. I'm just sort of keeping an eye out on the main sort of contributors when it comes to these big transfer deals, especially one that's a big fee like this. You're talking like mega money with this Saudi offer, you know. And I'm just looking at like Ben Jacobs. I'm looking at Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, them type of people, to see what they're saying on it, really. And I'm just trying to keep in touch with it that way. I tend to, you see a lot of information on X and you don't really know where it's coming from, whereas I kind of wait to hear from the source. And that was the rumor this morning, that his family were not necessarily not wanting to move to Saudi Arabia. It wasn't a putting across like that. There was just sort of, a footballer is a person as well, you know, and they have an extended family, and I think it has to work for all of them. There's a very good case of this with Zubimendi last season with Liverpool. Liverpool agreed a fee with Real Sociedad, and his wife didn't want to move because she didn't feel that it was the right scenario, and now he's going to Arsenal a year later. So this isn't uncommon. It probably happens quite a lot, but the information coming out on a much bigger scale because of the player and the fee involved, and Man United being in a little bit of a crisis at the moment, financially, which we'll get onto. But yeah, I think it's kind of funny in a way because every deal that's structured from a Saudi Arabian club, from my perspective, I mean, you'll have better knowledge of this than me, so come back at me. They're very much like, right, we've agreed with the player, now we'll go and make the fee with the club. And it's almost like they're stumbling on the player. It's like, okay, we'll give you a bit more time. Okay, we'll get, so it's kind of like not a Saudi Arabian deal. I feel like they're very straightforward deals, these clubs do. And it's like, right, this is what we're offering. You either take it or you leave it. We'll go on to the next one. Because I know you did say, and I've done a little bit of research this morning, that you're also looking at Barella from Inter Milan, which could be a relatively quite straightforward deal to do, I think. But they're holding on to Bruno Fernandez in the hope that he's going to agree, and then they can obviously come and negotiate with the club. And I feel like out of the two clubs at the moment, I feel like Man United look the better because they're like, right, okay, if you're going to negotiate, that's fine, but can you get that done and then let us do it? And I feel like it's almost not what I associate with a Saudi club. They're very sort of, look, this is the deal. Do you want to do it or not? Or we'll move on. And I feel like on this one, they're dragging their feet a little bit with it.
Sorry to interrupt, but what we hear this way is because the most media or the most fans believes they are more, they have more knowledge after many crisis windows. Nobody will pay more than 80 million for Bruno Fernandez at his age. So that's why they don't want to go to more than 80.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Like, I can see it from the other side of the coin. I can see why they're negotiating hard. They're trying to get a deal done with Bruno first, which I think this is a bigger picture. It's not just Bruno. It's Bruno and his extended family, our club. So it's a case of it's a complex deal. It's a big money deal. It's a big deal from Al-Hilal's perspective, and I'll get on to why I think that in a minute. And Man United's perspective, because Man United are not in the position they get. And I feel like that's why it's dragging on a little bit, Awali, to be honest with you. Man United can't turn that money down. I might be wrong here, but I'll quote on here. I don't think they would get him for £80 million. That if they're not coming with 100 plus million, I don't think the deal will get done. And United are in a strong position because I don't believe that Bruno wants to leave Man United. I think that the package of financially is beneficial for the club, and the club are willing to let the player go if Al-Hilal can do the deal. I don't think in any of this negotiation, Bruno's went to Man United and said, I want to do this deal. And I think he's very knowledgeable of the financial package. He's very knowledgeable of the fact that he will be a face of the Saudi Pro League. There's big personality, big high profile players in that league already from Portugal. You've noted Cancelo, arguably one of the best right backs in the world at Manchester City. Cristiano Ronaldo as well, which there's a lot of talk on him. If you want to discuss that later, we can do. And Bruno's a massive player in Europe that's well known, and I think it will be a big coup for Saudi, the Pro League. I think they probably need it at the moment, and Man United can't say no to the financial package. So at the moment, it's in a little bit of a stalemate, and I do feel like it's down to that personal side of Bruno's life and giving a concrete yes or no, because I feel like if Bruno goes to Man United and says, I want to move, the deal would have already been done. I think he's a little bit apprehensive. I don't know. I honestly, in my heart, believe he doesn't want to leave. I think he loves Man United. The fans adore him. But the financial package and the deal as a whole for United and him, it could marry up perfectly for both of them. And it's whether the deal gets done. I'll give you my prediction at the end of the show, but I generally don't know like what's going to happen. It's like I'm doing what you guys are doing. I'm taking it day by day. I'm sure it's consuming your media in Saudi, this deal. And I'm the same. As I say, I'm just looking for credible people that can give me a little inkling onto where this deal is. But it's a very tough, it's very complex, and we could do a whole show about what it could do for Man United, that money. But it's we're gonna have to wait and see. There's some cryptic stuff coming out that leads me to the fact of it's not necessarily him that's going to want to go if it does get done, but that's just my opinion. But I'm actually interested. I know I'm the guest on here, and but I don't like that. I want to know what's the perspective in Saudi? What's the noise coming out over there
regarding Bruno?
Yeah,
That he's giving 48 hours to answer the deal.
yeah.
And
See, that's interesting
also
because we've been told Friday.
Powerful account, and when I'm saying powerful, not because the credibility, it's just about how much they bought retweet and this kind of support. They said it's a release clause, which you said there is not.
Yeah, like some credible people have come out and said that it isn't there. So I don't understand if the release clause was there, why people would be negotiating at 80 to 100 million when there's a 65 million pound release
Exactly.
clause. It doesn't make any sense. And let's be honest, like the Saudis and the people that run Al-Hilal, the PIF, they're not short of any money. So I'm pretty sure they're gonna negotiate a 60 million pound deal. A 60 million pound deal to them is a 10 million deal to anybody else. You know that they'll pay that.
Okay, there is something and I will share with you. It's not about how much there is budget. They are not just buying Bruno. They want a coach. They want other players. And
yeah, I know.
And in addition, other clubs owned by BIF like Al-Nassr, Al-Ahli, Al-Ittihad, they ask why you give Al-Hilal this amount of number. We want the same. So it's the competition over there. So if 100, why you sign Bruno for 100? We want Barilla for like that. So this is one reason. Jimmy, so you're saying, in your opinion, 80 million, not enough.
I don't think so. No.
100 or more, or above.
I think if they come to the table with £100 million, United would have to talk to them. But as I say, the rumor is it's not necessarily the fee that they're worried about. They need to get the agreement from the player, and as soon as the player's told the club they want to join, they'll negotiate the price because there's a rumor here that Man United could control that negotiation and play hardball. But I don't know the ins and outs of it. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just going off of what I'm hearing.
Last question regarding Bruno. How many years left in his contract?
I think he's just signed the contract, hasn't he? So I think he's probably got 3 years on his contract, I would say, with an extension of 1. But it's United's financial position that's put them in this position, and this is what I keep saying to everybody. Like Man United, in an ideal world, wouldn't sell Bruno Fernandez. And I understand it from both perspectives as well. I don't watch the Saudi Pro League, I'll be honest with you, but I do watch the highlights mainly for Ronaldo. And I know Al-Hilal have struggled this year. You know, I know that they're a very dominant team in that league. Quote me if I'm wrong, but they were the champions last year. And Al-Ittihad seem to be the club that's the better team in Saudi at the moment. They've won the league, they won the King's Cup. They seem like the dominant force this season. So I feel like Al-Hilal almost need a marquee player to get somebody's interest again, and maybe they need to rebuild. There's rumors of Mitrovic going. Maybe they're trying to freshen things up, and I feel like when the Saudi Arabian league started becoming prevalent, they were bringing a lot of high key older players over to boost the league and the eyes on the league. Last season, they didn't necessarily take that approach. They were going for more younger players. And now they almost need that marquee player again. Like for people to be like, fuck, these guys are serious. We thought they were going easy last year. And then the likes of Osman's being linked, Inzaghi's being linked, like top world level like players. So I feel like they're going to go again. And Bruno would be a massive coup for them, not for just Al-Hilal, like the league in general. And the bigger picture of PIF, you'll know because you're from Saudi, but for people that don't watch the Saudi Pro League and are not educated on it, they're trying to become a top 10 league. That's their goal. And they've got some phenomenal players and they want more eyes on the league. And Bruno Fernandez will give you that. He's a big personality. He's a fantastic player. He's from a massive club, although I know we haven't had a great season, but we're still Manchester United and they're buying a player from Man United. And on the other side of the coin, Man United have been run really badly to the point where they have to sell their best player. Like they can't say no to that. And any other top club in Europe, elite top club, I'm talking about Real Madrid's, Barcelona's, Bayern Munich's, Italian teams, top clubs in England, you don't want to sell your best players. You don't want to sell your captain, you know, at the peak of your powers. You want to keep your best players. And for me, as I say, I've been very vocal with this. I don't think Bruno particularly wants the move. I just think that the finances of it is making him listen to it. But Bruno Fernandez is a world-class player that if he's going to move, he should be staying in Europe, in my opinion. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. Like he's at the peak of his powers now. He's one of the best players in Europe, in my opinion, like assists wise and stats based wise. He's one of the best consistently. He single-handedly probably kept Man U in the league, which is crazy. But I don't think necessarily that move for him at 30 years old would be a move that he was looking to make for someone that's quoted a few weeks ago as he wants to win trophies at the top level. I don't think going, and I really don't mean this disrespectfully, I don't think going to the Saudi Pro League's necessarily going to do that apart from on a financial benefit. And that's where I see it. But this is from an English perspective, and he plays for my club. I think there's top clubs in Europe where he could go, but I appreciate the Saudis are powerful people. They've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of drive. They've got a bigger picture for the league. And that's why it wouldn't surprise me if he does go there. But do I think he could play top tier Champions League football? Of course he could.
طبعا جيمي يعني يتكلم عن أهمية برونو فرنانديز لمانشستر، هو الكابتن. يعني يعتقد أنه انتقاله، وجهة نظره أنه انتقاله يعني فقط لأسباب مادية، أنه اللاعب ما زال يعني يرى أنه المفروض يبقى في أوروبا، أو أنه قلت أنا طبعا ما حد راح يعرض عليه المبلغ هذا. لكن هي الفكرة أنه حتى سألت أنه ليش 48 ساعة، والأخبار اللي كل يوم تقول مدة، أنه يقول لك حتى لو وافق برونو راح ياخذ الموافقة هذه مانشستر هو اللي راح يسوي المفاوضات، وانه يعني ما راح يقبل النادي باقل من 100، يعني باقل من 100 مليون. هذه طبعا وجهة نظره. انا بساله الان عن متروفيتش، بسال الان جميعا متروفيتش هل هو داخل في الصفقه ولا لا، وما مدى جديه هذه الاخبار. You mentioned Mitrovic. We read that Manchester want him. Is that true? Do you think this is going into the deal? Like take 50 and Mitrovic like that, or what is the story?
No, I don't think there's anything in that at all, I think it's everybody knows Man United need the striker, and Mitrovic is going to probably be one of the players that Al-Hilal need to get rid of to make space for maybe a Bruno, maybe a Cristiano Ronaldo. You can tell me more about that one. But I think it's just lazy journalism. On a free transfer, Mitrovic is appealing to a Premier League club for £40 million, which has been quoted, and you can keep him over there. We're not interested in that at all. There's better players available for Man United.
طبعا يقول يعني هذه الصحافة زي ما قلت لكم في جروب الواتساب انه صحافة يعني تبي تعبئة يعني اخبار، يعني شافوا انه مسلمين جاي قالوا يلا متروفيتش. طيب هويلاند same time we hear Fabrizio Romano just now saying Hojlund will leave to Napoli or something, or Inter Milan.
He seems to have quite a lot of interest from Italy. He's obviously played over there previously with Atlanta and done well. Done quite well to the point Man U thought he was probably going to be the next big striker coming out of Italy, and he just isn't good enough, I believe. Like I feel he gets a lot of stick from Man United fans, and I ain't gonna sit here and say I haven't been one of them. I've given him some stick as well. It's on my X page, anyone can see it. But he's just not good enough. Like his whole game hasn't improved at all. When you buy a player with potential, you're hoping that they can get better over the years of their contract to the finished article, maybe in the last year, and you negotiate a new one. And I don't know what's happened to him. He has no confidence at all. He's backing into players all the time. He can't seem to control the ball. Every time he gets a chance in the penalty area, he flaps at it. He's under that much pressure because he's the main guy at Man United, and he shouldn't be the main guy. And that's why I do feel a bit sorry for him. I can't see a future for him, and they're going to take a hit on the price tag. They paid £72 million for him, and then they're never going to get even half of that back. But they're going to have to take the hit, and this is why I shut down the Mitrovic story to you a minute ago. Like Mitrovic isn't a bad player. It's just he's not good enough for what Man United need, and they're looking for somebody that can come and have a big impact on the team. And Hojlund, I think a lot of Man United fans give him a lot of rope to play with, and eventually they've just ran out of patience with him. And it's a case of now, I think, for the club and the player, they should probably just admit this hasn't really worked out. We need to sort of get you out the club. But Man United have probably got 6 or 7 players in that position, I believe, you know. It's not just him. Like, there's lots of players that Man United need to get rid of. And he's another one of them. I don't know how many deals they're going to be able to do to get the players out, but he's one that definitely does need to go. You're looking at him, you're looking at Rashford, Anthony, Sancho, Onana. There's 5 already, and I can probably name you another 2 or 3. So it's a lot of business for Man U to be done, and I feel like if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to go back to Italy because that's where his reputation was good. You know, he was like a prospect, a high-level prospect that everyone thought was going to go on and have a great career. It's just not worked out at Man United. I generally, and I mean this wholeheartedly, I hope he goes to his next club and he does well, because I do feel like there's a player there. But he's got to get back to the basics, and he's not doing them at Man U. And I don't feel like him and Amorim are going to click. It doesn't look like it's working. I think for all parties, sometimes you've just got to be like, this is a really expensive mistake, but we've got to hold our hands up and try and get you out the door. And you can get on with your career, and we can go in this direction. But I think, lastly, on Hojlund, we've had a young lad come in, Obi, and he's done better than Hojlund, and the boy's 16. You know, he's made a bigger impact on games than a full-fledged international player. And I think that's why a lot of Man United fans have been like, nah, he's got to go, him. And it's unfortunate because he's very young and he might turn out to be a really good player, but it happens. It's sometimes you've just got to accept it's not working and you've got to move on.
Jimmy, that's great. We'll go some deep ask a question about Manchester, but let's make it
Yeah.
to the last. We didn't want to make you angry now. Mbuemo, Dakhil, also our friend Dakhil Hatawi say, Mbuemo go to United, Manchester United. Eddie Howe failed to convince third player after Dilab and Garcia's. Mbuemo situation, we know there been said four clubs interested. Arsenal, Liverpool, but you know, Arsenal they have Saka, Liverpool they renew Salah, so we can exclude them, I believe now. But the news now recently competition between Newcastle and Manchester United, which seem more closer to Mbuemo. He's second best right winger to score. He's fourth in score sheet in Premier League, but he's the second as a winger after Salah. Brentford, they said earlier in the transfer window in the winter, they will postpone it to the summer. And they want 60 million and 1 year only left on his contract. What's your take on this?
As I say, I'll put it out there. I might be wrong. I think Man United will sign Mbuemo. I think they're going to get him. From the information I've heard coming from pretty decent sources, that he likes the idea of joining Man United. I do appreciate Newcastle on a high at the moment. They're a fantastic club going in the right direction. They've had a great season. They can offer the player Champions League, but I think the only chance Man United have got is there's certain players that still get that thrill of maybe playing for Man United. I think that's all we've really got at the moment, and it's worked with Matheus Cunha. He was very keen to join Man United, and I think it's the same for Mbuemo, and it's the people that are talking about the deal that's given me the confidence, and I generally do think we'll get that deal done. Apparently, he's spoken directly to Ruben Amorim. They've had conversations, and like from quite credible people, United are willing to do that deal if it's on and they're in direct contact with Brentford. I think it's a deal that will get done. I really like the player, but as I say, I was confident that we would get Liam Delap. I thought that was a deal that we were going to get done, and we missed out on him. So never say never, but I think he'll choose Man United over Newcastle. It's probably not the most appealing at the moment. If you're a footballer, you probably want to go to Newcastle for the bigger picture of next season. European football, they're on a high. They're potentially going to challenge for the title if they can strengthen this season. I don't know where Newcastle are, but they're definitely the team that you're looking at and thinking that, well, it's an obvious move for him to go there, but I don't think that's going to happen with Mbuemo. I think he will be a Man United player, and it could happen very quickly, I think.
Isn't the salary higher salary, weekly wages?
No, I don't think so. I think we can. I don't know what Newcastle's salary base is, to be honest with you, mate. But I think we can pay. We would pay him more money to come to Man United, of course, and we'll have to do that hourly with a lot of players this summer. Like, people are not gonna. If we're gonna sign elite Premier League players, like top level Premier League players, which I think Mbuemo statistically is one of them, I think we're gonna have to overpay on wages. We've got nothing else to offer them. We've been an absolute shambles all season. The club's all over the place. I think the only pull that we have is there's a bigger project to get Man U back to the elite level if we can buy the right players. Because the reason why Man United are in this position, I believe, is because we've wasted money on the likes of Hojlund and Anthony. A lot of money. So we've got to get this window right. And I think the big thing for me is when people are seeing United have had a season like they have, it's not very appealing. But when you see that the transfer window's just opened and they've signed Matthias Cunha, who in my opinion is a very good player, very, very good player. And I think that's a brilliant signing. And that maybe will perk people up to be like, wait a minute, like Cunha had a fantastic season for Wolves. He's signed for Man United now. So maybe that's something I'll look at that project. But financially, they're going to have to overpay. If you're in a race with a player, with Newcastle at the moment, or Chelsea, or Arsenal, or somebody else, they don't have a lot to offer. So they're going to have to offer a financial benefit to the player. That's all they can offer. Whereas if you're Eddie Howe, you can sit over from someone and be like, we've got Champions League this season. We're building something for longer term. In 5 years' time, we might be one of the best team in the countries. This is our project. And Man U are like, well, we've not got any European football, but we've got a longer term vision. But we can give you a good wage. That's the conversation at the moment, and they're going to have to work wisely because they don't want to bring players in that are on big money just for the sake of the wage. They need to embody what the longer term vision is for Man U. And I think as a fan base, that's all we're clinging on to, that we're going to have to get things right soon because we've got it wrong for 10 years and look at the state we're in. So it's bad decision making as to why we are here, but we're aware that we're going to have to offer big money to players as an incentive because there's literally nothing else to offer them.
Do you think he will guaranteed in the starting lineup, with Anthony getting back, or Anthony will leave?
Yeah, I think he would play next to Cunha in that 10 role, the 2 10s behind the strikers. There's lots of rumours about Man United, who they want and what positions they want and stuff, but they're the focal point, and I feel like he can be an interlinking player as well. He can play multiple positions in that front. You can play out wide as he does for Brentford. He can play more centrally in that 10 role. He could probably play striker if needed. And I think that's the type of player they're looking for, that interchanging. I don't know if you're aware of Ruben Amorim's Sporting Lisbon team, but his front three were very, very like interlinked. Their 10s floated and sometimes were deeper than their striker. And then you had Gyökeres in the second season, who was that main focal point striker, who obviously has done fantastic. But in his first season, he did have very fluid striking options in them 2 roles and the main striker. So I think that's probably where he's going from. And he had a big clear out at Sporting Lisbon as well. Everybody's like, oh, this manager just wants to get rid of everyone. But that's what he done at Sporting. And from watching Portuguese football, I've seen that process. He got rid of a lot of big players at Sporting Lisbon and brought a younger team in, and obviously done very well with it, buying the right players. So I'm confident if the money's there, he can do the job. But I like the profile of player he's going for, and we're getting linked with the same names, Al-Walid, and that means something to me because we've always been linked with X, Y, and Z, and you never know which one the club want, whereas it's always the same names now. And Mbuemo keeps getting mentioned, so they're clearly interested in him. And it's nice that we might get a plan B, a plan A this time instead of a plan C. So I think that's important for every club, not just my club, every club, that they get their top targets. I know that doesn't always work that way because of financially and stuff like that, and you've got to have a plan B and maybe a plan C, and in Man U's case, a plan D sometimes. But it's a case of, it'll be nice if they give him what he wants, because then the excuses have to stop. And it's like, okay, now show us what you can do. You've got your players, you've got your system. What you got now?
Okay, Jimmy. Eddie Howe now, he leading the, after Paul Mitchell leaving or out, or just name it, he is leading the negotiation or leading the picking the players And we all know that Newcastle looking for goalkeeper, defender, and right winger, and maybe another striker behind or benched for Isaac.
Mm.
What you can tell us about this matter, and also if Mbuemo leave for Manchester United, as you're saying, who will replace the right winger? We have Murphy, but of course we are looking for better player or more experience, especially we Newcastle now playing in Champions League.
For me, I think Murphy gets a bit of a hard time. I really rate him. I think he offers a lot on that right. I know what you mean by like that. You need that little bit of an extra quality player, but I think he's been absolutely fantastic. And you've got to get, you know me, I love systems and chats about formations and stuff. You've got to get players that fit the systems. And I think Murphy's just a consistently good player. Like he just does the job that's needed. He works hard defensively. He's very creative. Like I've not watched Newcastle loads this year. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say I've seen every game. I haven't, but every game I've seen them play, I've been really impressed with Murphy. And I've always come away from that game thinking he's really underrated. Like he's a very good player, but there's lots of good quality players. I think they bought a young boy from Spain, haven't they? From Malaga, a young right-sided player. So I don't know whether he's going to be an option or he's going to go into the under-21s. I don't know what's going to happen with him, but apparently he's got a good reputation.
Rodrigo or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. I think he's, by all accounts, he turned down Real Madrid and Barcelona, so he must have something about him. Maybe he's got like a bit of a Perez story, nobody really knew about him and he was a really good player. So it'll be interesting, but I generally don't know target wise who Newcastle will go after. But if you're asking me for an opinion of a wide player that I would potentially look at for Newcastle that could, and again, I think Howe likes fluidity. He likes players that can play in an interlinked position. And if it was me and you were asking me for a specific player who I would maybe target for that role and maybe can play in a few different positions, I would look at Cliver at Bournemouth. I think he's a brilliant player. And I just feel like he would fit Newcastle's team like a glove.
Gibbs White.
Yeah, Gibbs White's another good option. I feel like he's probably someone that's going to be behind the striker. Newcastle don't necessarily play with a cam. They have three midfielders. Gibbs White's a good option, though. He's a player that Eddie Howe would make better. I think he's a very talented player. I don't know whether he's particularly a winger. I'd probably rule that one out based on that 4-3-3 that Howe plays. But
Elanga.
Yeah, Elanga would be a good option. He can play left, he can play right. That's a really good shout. I think he's had a great season for Nottingham Forest. There's lots of good players, but what the Paul Mitchell stuff shocked me a little bit when he left. I didn't really understand all of that, but reading between the lines, I think there was a relationship breakdown between Howe and him, with regards to overpaying for Lewis Hall and Tino Livramento. And I mean, how can he even come out with something like that, really? You look at the development of them two players under Howe, and are they not worth more than what you paid for them? Definitely they are. So I'm not sure where he's coming from with regards to that information, but maybe it's a good thing. If you've got a disalignment between manager and director of football, that's not good. And Newcastle won't be short of suitors for that role in the future. They'll go out and get a top quality director of football, I think. But this season, maybe Howe will take care of it with his backroom team. But his hit rate is very good. You look at the likes of the type of players he's brought in. Chris Wood, who brought in to do a job Kieran Trippier has been fantastic for Newcastle. Livramento, Nick Pope, great goalkeeper for what you needed at the time, and he's still good now. I don't think he's long term the answer, but I think it wouldn't surprise me if he moved on from Newcastle if Dubravka stays. But it's his recruitment. I think he's been very good at it. He moved on the players that were deadwood, should we say. He brought fresh players in. The signing of Bruno, Tonali, absolute masterstrokes. What he's done with Joelinton, fantastic. So there's so much information and clarity on him improving players. And I mean, look at the trajectory of Newcastle. It's amazing. You know what I mean? Like from speaking to you guys on Matters all that years ago to where you are now is crazy. Do you know what I mean? Like it's scary how long I've known you as well, to be honest, from them days when you like Man U were a good club then when I was on there. But it's it's the trajectory's going up and you are like an elite level team in England now. And I feel like Isak, I've missed Isak as well. How the hell did I miss him? Like he's gone from a prospect player coming into Newcastle with big potential to probably, no, not even probably. In my opinion, he's the best striker in the world. He has everything, absolutely everything. He's a menace. He's an elite level world class striker that Newcastle have. But and in my opinion, he's the best striker.
But he's injury prone, unfortunately.
He is, but when he's fit, he's an elite level, absolute killer on the field. He's scary.
Muhammad Ali asking about Dibbling. Is he could be play for right back, right winger? Who's Dibbling? I don't know.
Dibbling? Tyler Dibbling from Southampton. Is he on about from Newcastle's perspective or from Man U? Because he's been linked to both.
So not really sure, but of course he's asking about Newcastle. Jimmy, last couple of questions I would like to ask you. You are a coach, you're a football coach, and Al-Hilal are worried. You watched the final, Paris and Inter Milan, of course. Al-Hilal fans worry how good coach like Inzaghi lose this way. Everybody speaking bad things about Inzaghi or about the team. What do you think? What happened in your opinion as a coach?
I wouldn't judge Inzaghi on that game.
Why?
I think they had a terrible game because I watched Serie A a lot, mate, and Inter Milan are a very good team, very very good team. They play some really good football. They're very organized. He's a top manager, mate. He is a top manager. The problem is on Saturday night he come across a phenomenal football team. Like, and if people have got glasses on thinking that Inzaghi's not a good manager because of that game, they really don't understand football. Like, because he is an elite level coach, mate. I think he's one of the best managers in Europe. And again, it will be an absolute coup for Al-Hilal if they can get a manager like that.
But we worry about the spaces he left behind.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's that PSG team have just changed the way people look at football, mate. Like, but you have to have context to it, hourly, then look at the team that they have. Like that PSG team are an unbelievable team, and they are a team. They don't have any superstars. They are a team. The work rate of their players off the ball was amazing. And I kind of do watch football from a tactical perspective. And I thought, how has he got these players working so hard? Like they were pressing in the last minute when they were 5-0 up, like deep pressing. And Inter Milan just couldn't cope with them. But to have the mindset that Inter are a bad team because they lost 5-0, I mean, it was a bad result. Like it was an embarrassing result for a team that are very defensively astute. They're very organized. They're very hard to play against. They just come up against a beast that was ready to explode on the big stage. And that PSG team has got quality players, like world-class players in every position. And they just completely outplayed them. Like, and they couldn't cope with it. But like, mark my words with this. Like, he is a top manager, Inzaghi, a top manager. He just got completely outfought on that game. Like, Enrique just completely tactically done him. And it was always going to be a case of a style of two games. It was a counter-attack and well-organized team in Inter Milan, or it was a possessional-based, high-intensity team. And they were going to clash. And I mean, I put it on my X. I thought it was going to be a fantastic game because them two styles were going to gel, and it was like, who's going to come out the best? And Italian teams don't get beat 5-0, I will eat. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. This PSG team, I almost, and you can tell me what you think as well, because I know you love football. I almost feel like this PSG performance has woken a lot of people up to a different way of playing again. And it was very much like it when Barcelona came through and they were playing this passing game and everyone was like, what's this? Like, why? They never lose the ball. And then Bayern Munich came and they're 4-3-3 with the wide wingers, Ribery and Robin. Everyone was like, God, this is like heavy metal football. And that sort of was the style everybody went for. And all of a sudden now you've got a team that can keep the ball but have an intense, high intensity press with free flowing forwards that don't just play one position. They all, I mean, Hakimi and Nuno Mendes, they were playing higher than the striker sometimes. This is their right and left back. Like, just a complete different level of footballing knowledge. And it was amazing to, I mean, I put on my X page, it's probably the best performance I think I've ever seen. Like, it had everything. I just thought, what a beautiful, like, I love football, yeah? Forget that I'm a Man U fan. I love football. And I sat there in my mum's living room on Saturday night and I was like, what a beautiful performance that was. Like, that was just football at its absolute elite best. And I did feel sorry for Inter Milan. I've got a couple of Inter Milan shirts in my drawer down there. I like Inter Milan. And I just felt sorry for them because I thought, you've come up against an absolute beast there and you've just been destroyed. And everybody's jumping on Inter Milan, but trust me when I say it, he's a very, very good manager, mate, Inzaghi. And people need to look at him.
I totally agree with you. I would just add, I believe they are exhausted, more exhausted, not prepared for the game. Jimmy,
I think so.
Inzaghi, and so you are comfort Al-Hilal fans, but no worries because the situation in Al-Hilal, we lose this season because we have the coach Jorge Jesus.
Yeah, I know him well.
Yeah, he is making spaces and he being play with the forward defensive line. We have a lot of spaces, and all the team know how to play with against us, against Al Hilal. So we worry of this experiment happen the same with this three and spaces behind to repeat again with different coach like Inzaghi.
Yeah, I mean, I was
because Al Hilal
quite surprised with George Jesus going there.
Yeah.
Next
game Al Hilal against Real Madrid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be a hard game. I don't know the tactical game plan of Al-Hilal. I know their team. And George Jesus was a very good coach in Portugal. He done well with Benfica. I watched a lot of his teams play. He done well at Sporting Lisbon for a little bit, and then they got rid of him, funnily enough, for Amorim. And yeah, he's. I was surprised when he went to Al-Hilal, but the financial package was obviously too good for him to turn down at his age. It was a very strange deal, that. But I feel like that you'll see an elite manager if Inzaghi goes. I'm not 100% sure he will go, but you never know. I mean, that that's a big financial package for him, and it's a new challenge. And he's won the league with Inter Milan. He's been to 2 Champions League finals in 3 years. This is what I mean. Like, people need to look at this stuff. Do you know what I mean? Don't just look at the result on Saturday. Look at the bigger picture of him. He's a very, very good manager, and whether it works with his 4-3-3, his 3 at the back, sorry, I don't know. Maybe it'll change when he goes there. I'm not too sure, but you need the right players for the systems. And if he goes there and plays 3 at the back, Al-Hilal might need to change what they're doing with their recruitment, because they're not the best defensively, are they? You know what I mean? Well, not this season. Like, Lodi's not. He's past it. He'd be one I'd be getting rid of straight away. Cancelo could probably play wing back. I don't know. They might need a couple of new defenders. They might need a new striker. He plays 2 up front. Does that mean they're going to go and get Osimhen and another striker? Does Mitrovic stay then? I don't know. So it would be very interesting to see, really. I'll probably ask you about it if he goes there, to be honest.
A couple of questions. I would like to answer it quickly, Jimmy. Muhammad Ali asking about Gihi. Why Eddie Howe wants Gihi? Is he gonna play 3-4-3? And Bender ask Jimmy, what is if you rank Eddie Howe between Premier League managers on a table, which number you will give him? Best, second, third, like that.
He's got to be up there, isn't he? I'd definitely put him in maybe who we got? Guardiola had not the best season. Arteta, I don't rate him at all, to be honest with you. But let's just try and keep it professional and forget my opinion. He done well for Arsenal. They were close
in general, not must be this season.
Yeah, I would probably definitely in the top 4, maybe top 5 of managers in the league based off of last season. But I tend not to just look at last season. Like, I can see the biggest scope, and Eddie Howe's a fantastic manager. Like, the thing I don't understand is all of these jobs that sort of come up, like different top level jobs, why he's not in the picture for them. And I don't mean that like disrespectful to Newcastle, but he's done phenomenal at Newcastle. You know what I mean? Like, the level of football they play and their trajectory is going up, and I think he's a fantastic manager. And I wouldn't want to leave Newcastle if I was Eddie Howe. He's comfortable there. He's in control a lot of the club. The club's going in the right direction. They're a big club now, like, as in not just physically. They're a massive club, Newcastle, anyway, but they're a massive club in the league table now. Like, they're in the Champions League again. Fantastic. And I honestly believe if they back him and they give him 3 or 4 very, very good players, Newcastle are going to be a serious problem next year. They ain't going away, Newcastle. Like, they're just not going away. And with the right recruitment, which I'm pretty sure he'll nail it again, it just matters what players they lose. Livramento's getting linked to City. Is he going to go? I don't know. But if they back him properly and give him the funds that he needs, don't sleep on Newcastle next year having a real good go at that league title. I don't personally think they'll win the league, but I think they've got the capabilities to really go and challenge and be a problem. And like I said, that they're not going away. They're a very good club now, very, very well run football club with a very good team on the pitch.
Gihi.
Yeah, the saga is going to start again, isn't it? But yeah, he's a great player though, mate. You know, and the thing that I like about that is they wanted him last season. They couldn't get him, but he's sat on the list of players, and when the transfers come again, they want to go for him. So it's obviously a player that they really want, and they've done a lot of watching. They've got a lot of knowledge of the player, and Eddie Howe obviously thinks that he's the longer term centre back, because he's had problems with centre backs, hasn't he? Botman can't seem to stay fit. Shah's getting a bit older. Dan Burn probably isn't your elite level centre back, although he's had a phenomenal season again and deserves his England call up. So maybe he's looking at the next level of recruitment for Newcastle now that's going to see them for the next 3 or 4 years. So maybe Gehi's one of them players, and it would be a fantastic signing for you. I really rate him, and I feel like he would just fit Newcastle like a glove. That in that defensive line, but you never know.
All right. Last couple of questions. That's from me. I read, it's summer and a lot of news in Arabic side, especially Qatar, that maybe will come again for Manchester United, or this just sailed away.
I can only dream, I will eat.
Could be, or that's over.
I think it's probably over, to be honest with you. I think it just keeps them relevant. But I never wanted Ineos. Do you know what I mean? I was always very much on the fence of, if this Qatar bid's real, I would prefer them to own our football club than the Glazers. I wanted a full break from the Glazers. People get it twisted a little bit with my opinion. I wanted the Glazers out. Like, for me, the Glazers are Mike Ashley on a much bigger scale. Yeah, they generally don't care about the club, you know. And I wanted them gone for a fresh start, but I don't. No, I don't think so. You never say never. If the club become, if the stadium and the regeneration project doesn't get off the ground for the new stadium idea, I generally think if it starts costing the Glazers and Ineos money, they would put it on the market, and then maybe. I think Qatar will just keep dropping their name in the media just to keep them relevant, and they'll know that if there's an opportunity, the fans would jump on it to say, "Oh, we hope they like." Everyone at Man U, I think, would do anything to get the Glazers out. So it's nice that there's some sort of interest, but is it real or not? I don't know.
Ratcliffe, are you happy with Ratcliffe so far, or still need time?
Were you happy with Mike Ashley? God, that's what we're dealing with at the moment. Like, it's been a shambles since Ineos came in, and every decision's been terrible. But
that wasn't my last question. Last question is Bruno Fernandez. So Al-Hilal, here we go, or no, he will stay?
Here we go. I don't want to shirk the question because I'm aware people are probably listening that support Al-Hilal. My heart says he'll stay, but my head says he might go, and it might be a very quick deal. As I say to you, and I reiterate this again for people that are just tuning in now, I think he's an elite level player, and I think he can still play at the highest level. Not to say that the Saudi Pro League is not at that level. I think it's got some fantastic players. But I think for an ambitious footballer that can still play at that elite level, I would hope he wants to stay. But I also wouldn't begrudge him the move from a financial perspective. And the problem is, it's a Saudi club that wants him, and nobody wants a Saudi club to want their top player because they know financially they can afford them. So, look, the one thing I'll say, I don't know whether he's going to go or not, but the one thing I would say, if he does go, like, appreciate him and love him like we do, because we adore him. Everyone else thinks he's a rat, but we love him to pieces. So if you do get him, you'll enjoy him. He's very passionate. He's a fantastic player. So I hope you love him as much as we do. But in the nicest possible way, I hope he is not playing for Al-Hilal next season.
The Arabic commentary in when they show Manchester United game, when the ball with Bruno, they said always he's the only light candle in this darkness at Old Trafford. Uh, thank you. Thank you, for Jimmy, for
Yeah.
coming. Really appreciate it.
I've got a question for you though, Awali. Quickly.
Go.
Yeah, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
What is happening with Cristiano Ronaldo?
Okay, I will tell you. Well, okay. There is rumors and there is facts, but I
Okay.
want yeah, I explained to you before through WhatsApp that there is a chance of Messi will come after this World Cup. So if we get Ronaldo, if Al-Hilal get Ronaldo, maybe Messi go to Al-Nassr or something like that. But Al-Hilal, as we nobody tell us really straight answer. But Ronaldo, يعني from my as a Hilal fan, Ronaldo did bad stuff for Hilal fans. He did some
Mm.
bad move. Put the flag inside his pants shorts and throw it in the fans. He did some bad teasing for the fans. Uh, I understand how person become angry, but not all the fans will get that. They got offensive. They feel humiliation or they feel bad. Why you do this for us? Yeah, the players must tolerate the fans booing and this kind of. This is normal. He should use to it. We didn't
Yeah.
throw, and they didn't throw something at Ronaldo. Maybe the most thing they throw, maybe they throw some flag on his way, nothing else. So they notice his bad condition with Al Nassr. He didn't make a trophy.
Yeah.
So uh, they feel that
Where's it gone
Ronaldo.
wrong then at Al-Nassr? Because when they signed him, they were supposed to be the team that was winning the King's Cup and the Saudi Pro League title. Where's it gone wrong for them? Have they just bought bad players? Is the manager not good enough? Where's it gone wrong for them?
Last night there is interview with a goalkeeper from Al Nassr. He went for loan for Al Fatih club. It was an interesting interview. He said that the bad management at Al Nassr.
Mm.
There is different uh, shot callers, different decision callers.
Mm.
They are not together. Everybody is having some line or some direction. This is come from the goalkeeper of Al Nassr, the Saudi goalkeeper. So
Mm.
yeah, my opinion for Ronaldo, the player he used to, in Real Madrid, especially I think best era was in Real Madrid because maybe
Mm-hmm.
better than Manchester because he got more
Yeah.
experience and he have a lot of players help them. Remember Zidane, Ancelotti. He put Ronaldo as a striker and all teams give him passes, crosses. That the plan was Ronaldo. Even Benzema was like assistant for Ronaldo. But with Al
Yeah.
Nassr, they bring Sadio Mane, they bring Brozovic, John, what's the new player?
John Duran.
Duran. They all want to, they want, it's their time to shine. So they are
Mm.
playing, but they are not like helping Ronaldo, that kind of helping Ronaldo once.
Yeah,
Benzema,
because I
Benzema,
think it's hard to go back for Ronaldo after he put like that chapter's over on his Instagram.
yeah,
I don't know how you post something like that and then sign a new contract and expect the club to then go heavy in the market. But I mean, before I came on the show tonight with you, I was watching some reports about that situation. And the reason why I've asked you is I intentionally want to ask you because you follow the league and stuff. But it seems like they're willing to go and buy 3 or 4 new players for Ronaldo, and I'm like, it's that's always going to fail. That like you have to look at a bigger picture for a club. You can't just be like, right, if we keep Ronaldo, we'll sign X, Y, and Z for him because that's where he feels like we struggle. That's the problem where they're going wrong.
yes,
They
but
need to have a bigger picture, but I don't know whether that exists in the Saudi Pro League at the moment. It's all short termness, you know?
Benzema he had the similar situation last year. He got the 2 players and he wasn't happy with them. They lose 8 games against Al-Hilal in different champions. At the beginning of the season, he left, and or last year he left. Anyway, he left away. We didn't know why. Is he injured or whatever? They try to make him happy. They sign a coach he chooses as reports. Bringing French players like Moussa Diaby, Algerian Hussam Awar, Bergwin, and also he have already Kanti. So they get back stronger and win the league and King Cup. So everybody saying Ronaldo doing the same. He's away. In Saudi, we want him to, Ronaldo value have a lot of marketing value. We want to keep him.
Yeah.
Being the news that he will go to Al-Hilal, they try to make him sign for Hilal. Hilal refuse because they didn't see Ronaldo. They see Ronaldo more like will ruin what the team have. So they want to bring him the player from his chosen. So this is, I think, the latest.
Yeah, I mean, I've looked at the Al-Hilal team, not just because I was coming on here, just in general in the past week or so because of the Bruno story, and they've got a very good team. You know what I mean? They've got some really good players like Milinkovic, Savic. I really like Lazio. Lazio are my Italian team, and I've watched him for years. He's a fantastic player.
Yeah.
Ruben Neves, unbelievable player, and it does. They've got Neves, they've got Cancelo, and I almost think, are they going for a bit of a Portuguese core? Are they trying to say to Ronaldo, we'll bring Bruno Fernandez, he'll give you the assists. You sign for us and we'll buy Bruno. So I don't know whether it's such a strange one, like, because it's like they would rather move him to another team in the country than just be like, okay, if you don't want this project, go somewhere else then. Like,
No.
It's almost like the Ronaldo is the Saudi league, and it's not. It can't be like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Hilal play with one striker, and he have Mitrovic, and they will sign, and I believe they sign Osimhen. Where Ronaldo will fit in this? Plus, the problem with Ronaldo, he plays as a striker, so there is no chance for him.
But what if they get Inzaghi and he plays 2 up front?
Yeah, the problem with the Hilal is the coach now, because Jesus did he he lose his day job. He gets crazy really. This no midfields, and they have old and heavy defender as frontline defense, forward defense line, and every team beat us this season. So the problem is the coach. So that's why we worried about Inzaghi. Any question you have more, Jimmy, for me or the
Who
fans?
else have they been linked with, like management
Conceição.
wise? Who?
Conceição.
Sergio Conceição. It's another
Yeah, I
Portuguese
believe
link, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe he's the second choice if Inzaghi didn't happen.
I think he done very well at Porto. Not very good at AC Milan, but AC Milan are in a bit of a crisis at the moment.
No, Nuno Santo. What do you think of Nuno Santo?
What's that? Sorry,
Nuno Santo. But this is just rumors, not true.
Nuno Santos.
Nuno Santo.
Oh, the
Portuguese.
Oh, okay. I thought you were on about somebody else. Sorry. Oh, has he been linked with the Al-Hilal job?
Earlier, but I believe he's fit for it.
Yeah, I think I think there's a rumor he'd do well there. There was a rumor he's going to stay at Forest. to get a new
Yeah.
deal. I don't know, but that Saudi money talks to everyone, mate. So I wouldn't rule out anybody going there. But
Yeah. Also,
I don't know.
we hear about Jimmy Mackay as well.
Yeah, I heard he's open to negotiation if they want to give me a call. Um, yeah, we'll have to wait and see with that. You'll have to keep me in touch with what's happening with Al-Hilal. I'm sure I'll keep hearing them over the next few days anyway. But maybe they'll have a new fan if Bruno goes there. Maybe I'll start paying attention to them. But no, I just literally went off the basis of seeing who's won the trophies in there, and I see Al Ittihad were dominant. You know, I think they were 13 or 18 points in front of Al-Nassr, and I thought that's a big gap. You know, but I don't know. I think that the structure of the Saudi teams need to change a bit. They need to stop going for these superstars.
This gap is because Al-Hilal and Al-Ahli and Al-Nassr were very busy with the Asia Champions League.
Yeah.
Al-Ittihad, no, he was free of that. And Al-Hilal, Al-Nassr, Al-Ahli, they went to the semi-final. Three Saudi semi-final in Asia Cup. And Al-Ahli win after all.
Yeah, they're another good club over there, ain't they? But they've not had a very good season in the league, like Al Ahly, you know. I think the young player that they've got from Spain, he's leaving to go to Porto. Apparently, I don't know if it's true or not, but
he is Vega. Yeah,
they need to have a bit more of a longer term structure, the Saudi teams. I think if they're going to grow the league, they need a bigger picture and who they're recruiting and how they're recruiting, and not just going to let big players run the teams. It's never going to work. Like if you're bringing in Inzaghi and then you're signing, let's just say, I know it might not happen, and then you're signing Ronaldo and you've got Ronaldo telling Inzaghi who to buy. Like it's just not great, you know. The problem with it is, I think, is it's one global PIF that owns all the big teams, ain't it? And it needs, I don't know, just needs a little bit of structural sort of work there, because one club's not going to be the same as the other club. Like that's why it's unique. You know, you don't want everybody having loads of overpaid superstars that are trying to run the teams. It shouldn't work that way. But I don't know anything. I'm just a football fan in Newcastle, mate.
The news is this plan to make the team succeed and the market value go up, and they will sell it to companies.
Yeah, I think everybody takes note of it anyway. Like I think they've definitely got a pool that way that people are like, I mean, I don't watch the Saudi Pro League, but I'm sure people do. Like, I'm sure people do watch it and have got an interest in because of the level of quality of player there. I watch the highlights on YouTube. If I'm doing nothing, I'll put them on and see how Al-Nassr did, because I love Ronaldo, you know, like I'm a fanboy of Ronaldo like everybody else. So I have a look, but I've noticed, like, when I've been watching the highlights, how well Al Ittihad have been playing, and I thought, like, Benzema looks like he's refreshed, like he looks like he's got runners around him, he can score the goals. They've got a really good structure, so it'll be in. I mean, everyone talks about Al-Nassr and Al-Hilal, but it'll be interesting to see what Al Ittihad do this season, because are they going to go again in the market and strengthen to be the champions next year as well? So it'll be really interesting, and it's interesting to know. This is why I appreciate having you as a friend, because I get knowledge, because you're from Saudi, like, you know, and I didn't know that, like, the other clubs are now saying, well, wait a minute, you can't give them that amount of money. Like, we want that amount of money as well. And I think that's a very good power struggle to see how that will go. But if you look at Al-Nassr's team, Al-Hilal's team, Al-Ali's team and Al-Ittihad's team, you can see why Al-Ittihad won the league. They've got the right players in the right positions, and they look like they're a squad, whereas the other ones are a bit put together. I like him. We'll buy him. Can we get him? Yeah, we'll bring him. There's no structure to it. Like whereas Al-Ittihad, you can see in their formation, they've got Kante, they've got Fabinho, they've got Aouar, they've got a really good wide player in Diab, and you can see they've got the finished icing on the cake in Benzema. So no, I'm not surprised they won the league, and I hope they get backed as well. I'm sure they will, because every team in Saudi spends money anyway. So it'll be fascinating to see who they can attract. Are they going to go big again for top level players, or are they going to go for like a younger, more prospect player? It must be fascinating for you, because money's no objective to that league, and it is fascinating. I think everybody looks at the Saudi league and is like, these guys have got stupid money, man. They can go out and buy whoever the hell they want. You know, it must be fascinating for you as to watching it.
Well, still, of course, but as you see, we're struggling with before BIF, Al-Hilal was the best team. But after BIF, not just Al-Hilal, other teams. So it depends on what team you support. But we like the idea of, and I believe, Jimmy, bringing stars from Premier League and Serie A, it will loosen the financial fair play situation in England in Premier League somehow.
Yeah, I can see why the league went that way with getting the bigger, older players at the start, because you needed somebody to take note.
Ernestine says Mbuemo signed for Man United. So
Mbuemo was going to sign for Man United.
I was waiting the show to end, so I will quote you and say that, but Ernestine, do it. Oh no.
David Ornstein said that.
Well, according to Bender, I do.
Oh, Bander, I hope you're not lying. I'm going to go and check it when this is finished.
All right.
I'm trying to think if I've got any more questions for you regarding the Saudi Pro League.
Yeah, sure. But I'm really sad. I want this exclusive.
Okay,
but...
I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
Why has a young player at Al Ali choosing to leave the Saudi Pro League then? Like, he's a very young, talented player, Vega. Why do you think players like that are looking to leave?
He's young. He lived the experiment. He got the money. Yeah. So I believe and that's the reason. It's experiment.
Yeah.
First year was exciting. They win the Champions League. But sometimes it's hard to stay longer. Some of players only. Some of the players. My brother, you remember my brother, Osama, he said to me, and I believe he's right. He said, Al Walid, did you see Al Hilal players usually? The best season is the first season. Second season, they are going
Yeah.
under level. We don't know why. Is it because the heat way? Is it stay night? Different environment? But I think there is condition for every player. Vega, I believe, he it was an experiment. Maybe he expectation was a high expectation. Maybe he want to get back. He went like going to different. Maybe some players get recognized. I believe that. I don't think he was recognized much in Europe. Now he got more recognized when he come to Saudi with these stars.
Yeah.
So now he got with better. I think better name. I believe.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Right, I've got a Newcastle question, because I can't just ask you about Saudi League. What positions are Newcastle needing to strengthen, and who would you like to see them bring in? Give me three new signings. Who do you want?
Right winger. I want Yamin Lamal. It's not happening.
That is such a good answer. And if you
Okay.
can't get Lamine Yamal, you'll have Desiree Doué, yeah?
We have who?
Desiree Doué that plays for PSG.
I don't know. But Mbuemo now is leaving. So maybe Salah, but Salah renewed Liverpool. But Yamal is the best choice, but it's no way.
Impossible.
Yeah. I like Olmo from Barcelona. Olmo.
Yeah,
But
great player.
yeah. But defense, maybe Gihi. I think he's all right.
Yeah.
I think he's all right. English
Do you think they'll
defender.
sell Tino?
It's dependent on Tino, but I believe he's happy with Eddie Howe. I don't think he is ready for Guardiola. It's very, I don't know. It's dependent on the player, but he maybe will use this to increase his salary. If he succeed, he will stay. But playing for Manchester City, I think it's encouraging. So could be.
Yeah, they're gonna
50
they're gonna rebuild this season.
Yeah, it's dependent on how serious they are. I think it's 50-50 chance. But really, Eddie Howe, he rediscovered him really in this position, and he went to England.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see.
Also,
I'm looking forward to seeing who Newcastle sign. To be honest.
yes, and we said D-Lab. D-Lab went to Chelsea, so all choices, the new choices got almost gone. Yeah, so I think it's boring. The situation in Newcastle with signing is very boring, really. Taking much time until even Bob and Fish market know about it.
Yeah, I have an inkling on what type of player Howe will go for because of his previous signings, but I generally think he'll get them right, and I feel like Newcastle have got a very good hierarchy structure that when they look at a player, they do their homework on them. They won't just sign someone for the sake of it. Their recruitment hit has been very good. You know, they haven't got a lot of signings wrong, if any. Maybe there's one or two, I don't know, but like you look at the likes of Tino, the likes of Hall, the likes of Gordon, the likes of Bruno, the likes of Tonali, the likes of Isak. They've got a lot right, man. You know, like I always say to people, and this probably sounds a bit silly from a Man U fan, but Newcastle are a great example of if you can get your recruitment right, you can build a very good team. You know, and I hold on to that a little bit from a Man United perspective because we really need to start getting it right. And the thing is, you're only maybe 2 to 3 good transfer windows away from a very good team. And Newcastle were a prime example of that. Look when Howe came in, look at all the players they had there, and now look at them. And everybody looks at Newcastle now and thinks they're an elite level club on and off the field. They ran very well, but their football on the grass is great. They play great football. They've got the right players in the right positions. There's a teamwork. There's an authenticity on the way they play the game that Howe brings. And as I said earlier, if they can get the recruitment right this summer, they're knocking on the door of the top teams now. You know, people are starting to be like, well, I wouldn't count Newcastle out. You know, it's getting to the point where they're 3 or 4 players away from really pushing, you know, like really pushing it. It must be. I know one of your teams, Al-Hilal, are in a bit of a mess, but at least Newcastle are doing great.
No, Hilal just need the right coach, and I believe they will. And some names, I think they don't have much to really. It doesn't need that much of just the right coach and some 2 or 3 players, and I believe they will do a lot of things. Hopefully,
Mm.
qualified in a group stage in World Cup. Jimmy,
The
that
most
was sorry.
the most important question is when are you coming to Newcastle again?
Well, Jimmy, a lot asking me these questions, a lot, but I will tell you, يعني, the truth in WhatsApp. Or you want me here in
Okay.
public?
Okay, mate. I always appreciate your presence when we go for coffee.
Yeah, of course.
You're always welcome around my house, mate. You know, if you're ever in Newcastle, you get in touch. I don't live in Newcastle anymore, but you're more than welcome to come and
Where's
visit
it?
me.
Manchester or?
No, I live in Northumberland. I don't know if you know where Hexham is, but I live that way now.
But it's not far from Newcastle.
No, it's not far, but it's not in Newcastle. But
It's real that Alan Shearer Tower or something, you know.
I live in a little village just near Hexham now. So you're more than welcome if you're ever in Newcastle, mate. We'll come and pick you up, and you can come and have dinner and coffee with us. You're more than welcome, mate.
Of course, inshallah. Thanks for the invitation, Jimmy. That was lovely and honor. Really, thank you for these answers. And I am so sad, Ernestine. You know, they excluded before us, but I will fight for it that Jimmy say it first.
Thank you very much for having me, mate. Always a pleasure.
Big hope for Mbuemo from Newcastle fans since the whole season, but what to do? Hopefully, someone better come. Congratulations for that, and we wish you all the luck next season. جيمي ثانك يو فيري ماتش. طبعا كان معنا جيمي ماكاي المدرب كرة القدم في من مانشستر ولكن يقيم من نورثمبرلاند قريب من نيوكاسل. شكرا لك يا جيمي. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you very much, mate. It was a pleasure.